Hey guys, I'm Dav, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. Today we're here with the vampire counts, as you can see from the dreaded man himself, Ghorst, going to be taking on the dwarfs. So let's go ahead and take a look at the army composition. So we've got the meme lord himself, the Dark Lord of all that is unholy, Ghorst himself. He's up on the corpse cart here with its bros. So let's take a look at his abilities. He's got the typical corpse cart abilities, Vigor Mortis for that +5 melee attack and defense. He's also got the Unholy Lodestone for that additional replenishment effect. In addition, being a necromancer, he also has Master of the Dead for another regeneration effect. He's also got Lore of Vampires, of course, and the Reliquary Corruption, the same effect that you get from a Mortis engine. So essentially, he's like your Lord, a Corpse Cart, and Mortis engine all wrapped up into one, which if he wasn't so absurdly slow at only 23 speed, it might actually be useful. He also does have some cool spells here. Invocation of the Heck and Dance Macabre are pretty standard for Lore of Vampires. However, we also have this Awaken from the Grave, so rather than being able to summon zombies, Ghorst can actually summon Graveguard, or if you upgrade it, he can actually summon a White King if you overcast. So very, very good stuff. We've got another Necromancer here, just a basic Necromancer for the zombie summon, as well as the Forbidden Rod, additional Winds of Magic. In terms of the rest of the army, we've gone very infantry heavy here with a strong back line of Graveguard with great weapons and 2 regular Graveguard, one of which is the Sternsman. So we've got the regular Graveguard here, and then the great weapons, and then up front, 4 skeleton warriors. We've got 2 bats to tie down missile units, Varix Reavers over here, and another unit of Black Knights with lances and barding. So no reason to upgrade to the Blood Knights here. Varix Reavers in particular with their regeneration and pretty solid combat stats will be pretty decent in this matchup if you can get into some rear charge opportunities. I'm actually taking on Black Iron Battles once again. I'll, if I can remember, have a link down in to his channel in the description below, or if I somehow forget, Black Iron, if you just want to link to your own channel in your comment, if I for some reason forget, which, you know, definitely can happen. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at his dwarf list here. He's got an organ gun, front line of dwarf warriors with miners with blasting charges out at the flanks. He's got 2 units of Thunderers, Grumbling Guard, and 2 Dwarf Warriors with great weapons, 2 units of Slayers, Norgrimling's Ironbreakers as the anchor unit, Ungrim Iron Fist, and a Thane. Looks like the Thane's got the Tormentor Sword, and Ungrim Iron Fist has nothing on him. So let's go ahead and kick the battle into full gear. We'll watch as things unfold. So, I mean, obviously, Ghorst, I wouldn't say he's a competitive pick, but in any matchup, I think this is one where he could potentially be okay. If you can tie down your opponent's artillery with things like bats, direwolves, or so on, and keep him from getting shot up too much on the approach, because he is painfully slow. It will take him a long time to get to that frontline engagement. If you can get him into a good position and he doesn't get shot too much, he can be pretty good against the dwarves, because he has that perpetual regeneration, the Vigor Mortis, decent spell selection as well. Summoning Graveguard in the back line of the dwarves can be pretty decent. You can see over here, charged in with those Black Knights with lances and barding, but definitely took the sour end of that engagement. We're just kind of tying down the organ gun here with these bats, and now you can see Dwarf Warriors and Slayers coming forward. Looks like they're, I'm not sure what the Slayers are doing exactly, but the Varix Reavers are going to come in for a charge here, and come in and just do some great work here. Ghorst is slowly pushing up, getting into a position. Graveguard with great weapons will definitely do well, especially once they're getting hit by that Vigor Mortis effect and the various stacking regenerations. We've already upgraded an Invocation of the Heck just to start off the healing in this center pocket here. Meanwhile, the bats mostly getting taken out, but they've done their job and tied down this organ gun for enough time for us to push through. You can see us pushing through here, only really the Slayers holding out in this pocket. A very strong force of Graveguard and these Varix Reavers now pushing through. We're going to get the Varix Reavers to chase down the cannon crew just to make sure they don't come back and reman that cannon, that organ gun rather. It's very, very important for keeping old Ghorstmaster alive. You can see him pulling up in the back line here, going to be summoning up a unit of Graveguard in the back line here. So you can see these guys rising up from the earth, going to be going after this unit of Thunderers here. And yeah, overall going to be pretty solid You can see these Graveguard over here are definitely taking some damage. The combined might of these Dwarf Warriors and the Miners with blasting charges will be able to cut through them over time. It will take them some time to do so, but you can see the Graveguard getting into the back line here. They're going to take some blasting charges from those Norgremlings Ironbreakers, but at least they'll tie down these Thunderers and keep them from shooting at the old Ghorst Master here. And again, everything is reliant on Ghorst not getting shot to absolute pieces and also not getting caught by Ungrim Iron Fist as well. So it's going to be a tricky situation. You can see we're bringing up the Necromancer just to start potentially summoning some zombies in the back line, just because it's obviously cheaper than the Graveguard summon. A little bit of mismicro here by me, not moving these Graveguards into place, but it looks like actually another Graveguard from old Helman Ghorst himself. Going to be tying down this other unit of Thunderers. You can see this other Graveguard between the degeneration and the damage they took from those blasting charges. Going to be pretty rough for them, but just bringing down these crumbling bats to try and tie things down. But the Norgremlings Ironbreakers still able to get their blasting charges off, but through the fire and flames, these Graveguard going to be pushing through. And oh man, those blasting charges doing a little bit of friendly fire there. Definitely some Slayer Oaths going to be taken after that particular volley. But anyway, in the front line here, you can see the Mortis Engine effect is draining away these Dwarf Infantry over time, and Ungrim Iron Fist is having a hard time getting to Ghorst. Obviously, once he gets into base contact, starts focusing his attacks, he'll do a lot of damage to Helman Ghorst. You can see the Ghorst Master definitely taking the worst end of this engagement here. He is able to stagger Ungrim, surprisingly, and kind of knock him back, which does buy him a little bit of time here, but I definitely need to try and get Ghorst out of this situation. That being said, most of the frontline engagement has gone in my favor. These Graveguard that were losing initially managed to stabilize over on that far side and win that engagement, so they're pushing through more Graveguard, the Stearnsmen in fact, pushing through here, going to be trying to get on these Thunderers in the back line, and you can see just a general rout going down for the Dwarfs as the forces of the Undead push through. Some beautiful Thunder fire coming in. I have to say, love the gunpowder units in this game. But Slayers holding their ground. Ungrim Iron Fist obviously is unbreakable. That being said, he is kind of surrounded by Graveguard and taking some damage. I haven't been able to move Ghorst, and this is one thing I've noticed about the Corpse Cart is depending on how it's positioned, like Ghorst actually can't turn left right now. If you see how there's this Thane in the way and so on, because of their mass, he actually can't even turn around. So instead I have to turn him the other way and trying to path out this way. It's a little bit buggy. I noticed that Corpse Carts, I don't know if it's because they're so slow. I actually cast Dance Macabre on there to give them a little bit of extra speed, try and get him out of there. But yeah, it's just kind of weird. Sometimes their pathing gets stuck, and if they get any speed debuffs at all, Corpse Carts are basically immobile. So you definitely have to be very careful about that, especially when you're bringing Helman Ghorst because he's your lord on a Corpse Cart. But we'll grab some cinematic action as the Necromancer fights Ungrim up close. Obviously, the Necromancer, more of a meat shield character than anything. He's done his job, so he's going to fall over now. But at this point, most of the opposing units are going away. You can see Varix Reavers managed to rack up 88 kills, going to get a nice downhill charge into what remains of the Grumbling Guard here, and probably rout them off. At this point, most of the non-unbreakable units are going to be close to hitting army losses. You can see Norgremlings Ironbreakers, though, I mean, obviously they're close to unbreakable, not quite. But the saving grace here is, even though they do have the magic resistance that all dwarfs have, I mean, obviously the Mortis Engine effect over time will do a lot, and these rear charges from the Black Knights will do a little bit. I mean, they're not going to do a ton because of the super heavy armor and everything of the Norgremlings Ironbreakers, but at least they're not getting that charge defense when getting rear charged. And, you know, just over time, without the support, these Norgremlings Ironbreakers will get ground down here by all these skeletons and Graveguard and the Black Knights and so on. You can see the Ghorst Master just sitting back and cackling, you know, definitely doing a little bit of evil cackling over here. And, oh, man, the blood spatter on his face almost looks like a mustache. We gotta get a close-up on that, man. Ghorst with the evil villain mustache. Absolutely beautiful. So yeah, the Thane is going to hit army losses here. It's pretty much just Ungrim Iron Fist and the other unbreakable units at this point. It's full army losses situation, so we'll watch as Ungrim meets his valiant end, as a true Slayer should, you know, obviously. But yeah, this is going to be a victory for the Vampires, and not too often you get to see a victory from Helman Ghorst. So very fun battle, well played to Black Iron. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. In terms of the army breakdown at the end there, the Graveguard definitely pulling their weight, and I think they're a little bit of an unsung hero in this matchup, particularly if you can support them with a Dance Macabre and or a Corpse Cart to get that Vigor Mortis. with some regeneration effects, they can hold their own against dwarf infantry, and I might have to tinker around with some more infantry heavy builds from the vampires, but just based on what I've seen so far, I mean, you can go with the Vargulf, you know, double black coach build, double Vargulf, double black coach, and that does to work to a degree, but this build definitely was a lot of fun. If Black Iron had brought like a cannon and maybe some, rather than bringing these Thunderers, if he had brought the Bugman's Rangers, I think, are a little bit better pick in this particular matchup. They could have bursted down Ghorst pretty quickly, and the cannon in particular on an open field map like that, with Ghorst having nowhere to hide and just being super slow to advance, probably could have taken him out before he got into that frontline engagement, but Black Iron opting to go with the organ gun, and that's kind of why I brought the Fellbats as well, just in case he did have a cannon. I could run the Fellbats in and at least tie it down for a little bit, and hopefully keep it from shooting too much at the old Ghorst Master there, but thankfully for me, he did not have a cannon, and we were able to keep the organ gun and the Thunderers tied down for most of the battle. The Varix Reavers did very well, 97 kills, 53 on these Black Knights, pretty decent showing. Obviously the Fellbats died out very quickly, but again, their job is just to tie things down. The Necromancer also being a little bit of a meat shield there, just to kind of lock down these characters a little bit. For Black Iron, 68 on Grim Iron Fist is pretty substantial, considering he gets things done the old-fashioned way. It's a lot of splash attacks being done there. 113 on the Grumbling Guard and 124 on these Dragonback Slayers, 119 on the Norgrimling's Ironbreakers. So definitely the elite regiment of renowned infantry for the dwarfs, showing their strength. 56 and a couple chevrons in these Slayers as well. It's just the miners and the dwarf warriors in the front line just got outclassed really hard by these Graveguard, and I think that was really one of the main points in this battle. Yeah, and likewise, I think if we were to cut these Thunderers down to the gosh, I just lost it. The Bugman's Rangers, that's it. They're, I mean, they have charge defense against large. They don't have the AP, which the AP would have been nice to have against the Graveguard with great weapons here. But at the end of the day, yeah, I think it would have been better to have the Bugman's Rangers, just because they don't get as obstructed as easily. They're much better if I charge down with the bats. I mean, obviously the Thunderers have armor, but more importantly, the Bugman's Rangers have both charge defense against large and regeneration. So, I mean, obviously bats don't count as large entities, but these Varix Reavers and the Black Knights do. And if they're fighting something like Graveguard or something a little bit more substantial, that regeneration can definitely help. I'd be interested to see kind of how they compare one-on-one in melee versus various vampire units, but just from my anecdotal experience, I think that Bugman's Rangers are a better pick in this particular matchup, but still, very fun battle. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. Very well played to Black Iron battles as well. If you do like this kind of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Thank you very much for watching once again, and we'll see you next time.